in general. You talk about brotherhood,
Yeah.
right? How do we be there for each other?
Yeah.
Because we're experiencing these same things, right? You get what I'm saying? Where these
Hmm.
systems are pulling us apart. Man, how you been, man? It's been a while. Yeah, I know, man. Working. You know what I mean? And then we, like you said, we done went back to that new saying which I like now. Life be
Life be
life, and
life.
bro, life be life.
That's why I said, that's what I'm saying. It's not intentional. I like how you saying systems, but go ahead.
But the challenge is,
Yeah.
for us to, we got to fight back against that.
Mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Even in the midst of having to work 2 jobs,
Yeah.
3 jobs, we got to figure this thing out to where, hey, bro, we got to be there for our brother. You get
I
what I'm saying?
agree. Yeah.
We got to
I
be there for
agree.
our brothers.
Yeah.
And I know it's a tactic and a strategy of the enemy because once you pull those men apart, you imagine what could be done.
Yeah.
That's why I went to the Million Man March because that was phenomenal, bro. Like
Mm.
if you really think about it, men, you get a group of men together, right? Just a group of men.
Hmm.
I remember listening to a young lady one time, and she was talking about, we always be picking on the Muslim brothers with the bean pies and the bow
Hmm.
tie and all that stuff. But she was like, she's like, I always respected them because you will always see a bunch of men in them fellows
That's
in their
true.
fellowship
Now that I think about it, yeah.
where they kind of
Yeah.
band together. And I really looked at it, I was like, she got a point. She
Yeah.
got a point. And she said something that was so profound to me. And it was not only what she said, but it was how she said it. She was
Hmm.
like, whenever I see them, she gets an overwhelming sense of protection
Mm.
that she feels seeing, about 20, 30 brothers lined up
Yeah.
together. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's it really escapes me trying. I'm really trying to capture, words to be able to articulate that. But man, if you got, trust me, when
Hmm.
you have a bunch of men with a singular focus and purpose standing together, man, that's some power
Yeah.
right there. Trust me, that's
Yeah.
some power right there. Yeah.
I believe in iron sharpens iron, and I think what we can do as men, we need to respond because so for instance, like most men may get a text, man, I'm busy right now, I can't, you know, because sometimes like you have this brother, especially like in the church, you fellowship with individuals, you pray, and then you trying to instill words of affirmation, encouragement in your brothers. But when you don't hear from them for a while, you send them a text, you give them a call. Sometimes you don't even get an answer, and you're like, man, I wonder what's going on with my brother, like, and they just won't answer. So I think for men, they just need to respond, and it don't matter because I get it. Like would go in a cave. We would go in our man cave. Like, I don't want to be bothered with. You may see a text, a brother send you a text. Hey, look, I don't even feel like talking right now. Because we get like that. The sisters now. The sisters, they'll respond. The sisters will answer. So for me, so I'm gonna share my experience. Because I like how you brought up the sisters, because this is what we go through. If you wanna, this is the reality, right? We're Christian men, we're fathers, we got wives, we got our children, and we have to work. We have to work. So because these systems that are in place, so we gotta spend time with God. You do not want to take God out. You gotta devote yourself to God in prayer, spend time with your wife. If you got children, spend time with your children, but also you got to make that money. You got to work in that, working. Typically, you'll be working 8 hours, depending on how far is your commute. You're pretty much out of the house between 9 to 10 hours. And if you sleep for eight hours, you still got what? 6 hours left, right? And that's small. And they're just doing that 5 days a week. So a bit about my testimony. So when I find myself working, I think a brother got to be spiritual enough to know when himself is drifting. Because the devil, man, he is so kind of, like you said, spiritual warfare. he'll slowly pull a man away from his devotion with God and away from the brothers. Because the minute you see a brother not intact, connect with God like that, he's gonna start drifting away from the brotherhood and the fellowship and accountability. Because he gonna find himself so far away. Like, man, how did I get there? Why I'm not talking to Brother Nick no more? We used to talk all the time. We used to fellowship. We used to break bread. So I got to share this story. You know, I know you're here, but I got to share this. So it was one season that I was working so much that I didn't even talk to brothers like that. I was just like work. But because of the spiritual aspect of me, the godly, spiritual, Holy Spirit that's inside of me, I caught myself. I said, wait a minute. I find myself, I'm becoming like worldly, because now I'm around these worldly individuals at my workplace. So, because, you know, they complain a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't getting paid that much. I'm tired of management. And I found myself doing that.
Doing some of the same
And I
things.
caught myself. I started thinking about Moses when he was in the wilderness and the children of Israel's complaining.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I had to catch myself. I said, whoa. And I called you. I said, hey, Darryl, I need to talk to you, man. I feel like I'm drifting, man. I need to talk to you. Yeah. And I think if men are honest, so a person may be watching this right now, they be like, oh, yeah, man, he going through something. No, I ain't going through this because I'm honest.
Right.
And I think men got to be honest with themselves, that they find themselves drifting or they're not fellowshipping with somebody that could hold them accountable or encourage them. They got to, you know, be careful of that. They got to be like, you know what, I find myself drifting. Let me call a brother. Sometimes if they're not responding, sometimes they need to take the initiative, because the last time I checked, the phone worked both ways.
Right.
Because I find myself always calling now. I'm always calling, texting brothers. But this is what I found that's very interesting. A brother that it could be inside the church or outside the church, family, friends. Oh man, you don't call me no more. Let's just say, remember, I just said I'm the one that's calling. I'm the one that's calling. I'm the one that's texting.
Right.
And in the minute, like, you don't hear from me for 3 to 4 months. Oh yeah, you don't call me no more. You don't mess with me no more. And I'm like, I think the phone works both ways. And men I don't know if sisters do it, but men have a bad habit of saying that stuff. A really bad habit. And I think for men, they got to take the initiative, like, man, I ain't here. I know Nick texts me or I ain't respond to him, but at least let me pick up the phone and let me call him. Let me just check up on him. Don't just call me because you want something out of me. Oh, right. I'm broke, you know.
Right.
Call me, see how you doing. And I think preachers go through that too, because preachers, they exert so much energy and try to give, but it's nobody pouring back into the preacher. You know, your dad was a preacher, so I'm pretty much sure you could talk to this more than I can. So nobody's pouring into the man of God. Right. He's the one that's pouring, but nobody's pouring into him. Right. And I think for men that find themselves drifting, and I'm saying this because I had to catch myself. For those men that's watching me, they got to pick up the phone. Let me pick up the phone, man. You know what? I got this message. Man, let me call my brother. Hey, man, I see you on YouTube, man. How you doing, bro?
Right.
I think that's where it starts from.
I think the biggest issue, and this is just me, so, you don't have to take this, but I think the biggest issue with men, and I know definitely for me, was you just got to realize, man, that you don't have the capacity to be strong all the time. You just don't.
That's good, Doc.
That's hard, though.
Yeah.
That's hard to identify that and to accept that, especially how we came up.
That's true.
Where you had to be strong.
That's true.
You ain't no man if you ain't
That's
strong.
True, yeah.
Think about that for a second. This is why I've said it a million times. I'm going to keep saying it because it is a true statement, man. Chris Rock was on to something. Listen, your very existence, they strip that away from you if you can't do what a man is supposed to do. A woman can do all these things. She's still a woman.
That's true.
A child can mess up, do all this. They still a child. A pet can do all that stuff, and we love these dogs, and they mess on the floor, and stop, hit them. But that's still a dog, and we still gonna treat them and love them. Yeah. But let that man mess up. You ain't no man. Think about that. Like, your very the thing that you are is taken away in the eyes of society. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the enemy came after the man? Because the man represents power, strength, all of that
Yeah,
stuff we've been
yeah.
saying.